In more than 75 years of NBA history, there have been many great teams, but only a few have left a real mark as some of the best ever. Being a dominating team in the regular season is nice, but the real deal is when the playoff time comes. So in this video, we'll look back at the best playoff runs in NBA history. 10. 1983 Philadelphia 76ers, 12-1. We're starting with the Philadelphia 76ers, who had a special season in 1982-83. The previous year, they lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals, and were determined to go one step forward this time around. They made the crucial move in the offseason, trading for All-Star center Moses Malone in exchange for Caldwell Jones. Big Mo joined an already star-packed roster led by Hall of Famers Julius Erving, Maurice Cheeks, Bobby Jones, and Andrew Toney. The Sixers finished the regular season with a 65-17 record, which is the second-best record in franchise history to this day. Malone was named league MVP that year after averaging 24.5 points, 15.3 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. That was the time when one of the most epic NBA interviews took place, as Malone responded with faux on the question of how the Sixers will do in the playoffs.
I'm gonna put on this finger right here. Going to feel great for the team, for the coach, for the city.
Referring that they will sweep all 3 series. He was not far from the truth, as the Sixers lost only one game on the way to the NBA championship. The only loss came in the second round against the Milwaukee Bucks, who came from a sweep against the Boston Celtics in the opening round. In the 1983 NBA Finals, the Sixers swept the defending champions Lakers. That is one of only 3 times for a team to lose only one game in the playoffs, but given the fact that the Sixers needed only 3 series to win the championships, we don't have them higher on our list. By the way, that was the last time the Sixers won the NBA championship.
Every shape, every form possible. But they had the ability every year to come back and just keep on doing it. And keep on doing it, and darn it, they climbed the mountain.
9. 1999 San Antonio Spurs 15-2. 1999 was one of the worst years in NBA history, as the league went through a 204-day lockout, and the 1998-99 season started in February 1999, instead of in October 1998. Anyway, that doesn't change the fact that the San Antonio Spurs had an epic season. They were all hyped up having Tim Duncan coming off his first season in the league and winning the Rookie of the Year award. David Robinson was fully recovered from his injury, and Sean Elliott and Avery Johnson were respected players in the league. Greg Popovich knew what he was doing even back then, and going into the season, he signed Steve Kerr, Jerome Kersey, Antonio Daniels, and Mario Elie. Things didn't start so well for the Spurs as they lost 8 of the first 14 games of the regular season. However, they finished strong, winning 31 of the last 36 games, and finishing with the league-best 37-13 record in the shortened season. They brought that form in the playoffs and went on a 15-2 run. The Spurs lost one game in the opening round to Kevin Garnett and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then moved on to sweep the Los Angeles Lakers and the Portland Trail Blazers.
Into Sean Elliott. He fires the 3.
In the NBA Finals, the Spurs faced the New York Knicks, who became the first team ever to reach the NBA Finals after being the 8th seed in any conference in the league. The Knicks were an electrifying team with Latrell Sprewell, Allen Houston, and Larry Johnson, and won one game. But the Spurs were just too good. Tim Duncan had an amazing playoff, averaging 23.2 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 2.6 blocks to win the NBA Finals MVP award. 8. 1986 Boston Celtics 15-3. The 1985-86 was the best team in the rich history of the Boston Celtics. Larry Bird was the leader of that team, and this is the year when he won his 3rd consecutive and last MVP award after averaging 25.8 points, 9.8 rebounds, and 6.8 assists per game. Veteran Bill Walton was named the 6th Man of the Year, and the Celtics team also featured Kevin McHale and Robert Parrish. The Celtics finished the regular season with a 67-15 record, including a 40-1 home record, which was matched only by the San Antonio Spurs in 2016. The Celtics swept the Chicago Bulls in the opening round, which was the series when Michael Jordan set the still-standing NBA record with 63 points in a single playoff game. Dominique Wilkins and the Atlanta Hawks were the only teams that stole a game from the Celtics on their way to the NBA Finals, as they also swept the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. In the NBA Finals, the Celtics collided with the Houston Rockets in a 1981 Finals rematch, and won the series in 6 games. That was the last title for the Celtics before they won again 22 years later in 2008. 7. 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers 16-5. At number 7, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers team that won the only NBA championship in franchise history. 2 years before that, LeBron James decided to come back from Miami and try to bring a championship to his home state of Ohio.
That came to me and said, LeBron, you got to do what makes you happy. And I was like, yeah, I think so. And also, I'm going to do what makes my city and my state happy. And that's why I came back. I love you. I'm back.
The previous season, the Cavs made it to the NBA Finals, but lost to the Golden State Warriors in 6 games. In the 2015-16 season, the Warriors looked even scarier, finishing the regular season with the all-time best 73-9 record, while the Cavaliers topped the East with 57 wins and 25 losses. The Cavaliers had a furious start to the playoffs, sweeping the Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks in the first 2 rounds. The Toronto Raptors with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry were next in the Eastern Conference, and the Cavaliers won in 6 games, which was the first of 3 consecutive playoff series wins against the team from Canada. The real deal was awaiting in the NBA Finals, and the Warriors jumped to a quick 3-1 lead in the series, but it seemed like they started celebrating a little too early. LeBron James dropped 41 points in 2 straight games to take the series to the decisive Game 7. The Warriors were still the favorites to win that one in front of the home crowd. The Cavs kept the game close. LeBron James had an epic block against Andre Iguodala, and Kyrie Irving made a 3-point shot with around 30 seconds left in the game. That proved to be the game winner, and the Cavs became the first team in NBA history to come back from 3-1 down to win the NBA Finals series, and ended up on our list instead of the Warriors, who had the best regular season record ever that year. 6. 1987 Los Angeles Lakers, 15-3. The Lakers came into this season with a chip on their shoulders after losing in the Western Conference Finals the year before. Magic Johnson and James Worthy were in their prime, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was still one of the best centers in the league. This was the peak of the Lakers' Showtime basketball, led by Pat Riley as the head coach. The Lakers finished the regular season on top of the Western Conference with a 65-17 record. They swept the Denver Nuggets and the Seattle Supersonics in the playoffs, losing only 1 game in the second playoff round against the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers went on to the NBA Finals, where the defending champions, Boston Celtics, were waiting. The highlight of the finals was Magic Johnson's hook shot, and gave the Lakers a crucial 3-1 lead that later converted to a 4-2 series win. Magic won the NBA Finals MVP averaging 26.2 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists per game, while shooting 54.1% from the field, 50% from the three-point line, and 96% from the free throw line in the NBA Finals series. That was the Lakers' 10th championship, and 5th since they moved from Minneapolis, and the last time the Lakers defeated the Celtics in the NBA Finals until 2010. 5. 1996 Chicago Bulls 15-3. Michael Jordan came back to the NBA late in the previous season and was fully committed and ready to attack the NBA championship. The Bulls added Dennis Rodman to the team, who joined Jordan and Scottie Pippen, who previously won 3 championships together, led by Phil Jackson as the head coach. These Bulls became the first team ever to win 70 games in a regular season and finished the season with an all-time best 72-10 record, which stood until 2016, when the above-mentioned Warriors won 1 game more. The Bulls won the first 37 home games and finished 39-2 in the United Center. At one point of the season, they had 18 consecutive wins and finished the month of January with a perfect 14-0 record. When the playoffs came, the Bulls swept the Miami Heat in the opening round, went past the New York Knicks in 5 games in the second, and then swept the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Seattle Supersonics were the last opponent standing. The Bulls started strong, taking a 3-0 finals lead, but then the Sonics, led by Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp, won 2 straight to come back in the series. The Bulls won the following game and closed out the series with Jordan winning the NBA Finals MVP award. MJ averaged 27.3 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 4.2 assists in the final series. That was their 4th championship in 6 years. 4. 1989 Detroit Pistons, 15-2. This was the season when the Pistons moved to the brand new Palace of Auburn Hills, and it went on to be the best season in franchise history. Isaiah Thomas, Joe DeMars, Dennis Rodman, and Bill Laimbeer were the top players on the team, and they made a great deal trading Adrian Dantley for Mark Aguirre during the season. The Pistons started strong, winning the first 8 games of the season, and later also had an 8-9 game winning streak, finishing with a 63-19 regular season record. Thomas was the main man on the team, but the Pistons were winning games with their defense, and DeMars and Rodman were named in the All-Defense first team that season. The Pistons swept the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks in the first 2 rounds before running into Michael Jordan. The Bulls took a 2-1 series lead, and it looked like they would finally beat Detroit, but the Pistons won 3 straight to close the series in 6 games. After they went past the Bulls, the Pistons had no trouble in the NBA Finals, sweeping the Los Angeles Lakers and winning their first ever NBA championship. 3. 1991 Chicago Bulls 15-2. After years of struggling to come out of the East, the Bulls' time finally came. Michael Jordan had an impressive season, winning his second NBA MVP award, and as usual being the top scorer in the league with places in both the All-NBA First Team and All-Defense First Team. MJ led the Bulls to a 61-21 regular season record, but the real deal came in the playoffs. The Bulls swept the New York Knicks in the opening round, lost only 1 game to Charles Barkley and the Philadelphia 76ers in the second round, and most importantly, they swept the Detroit Pistons in the Eastern Conference Finals and paid them back for everything they put them through in the previous 3 seasons. The Los Angeles Lakers, led by Magic Johnson, were the final obstacle on the road to the NBA championship. The Lakers stole Game 1 in Chicago, but from that point on it was all Bulls. Jordan was simply unstoppable, averaging 31.2 points on 56% shooting, 11.4 assists, 6.6 rebounds, 2.8 steals, and 1.4 blocks on the way to the Finals MVP trophy. That was Jordan's first and Magic's last NBA Finals appearance. 2. 2016-17 Golden State Warriors, 16-1. After the Warriors blew up a 3-1 lead against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA Finals, spoiling the best regular season record, they made a key addition in the offseason, signing Kevin Durant. KD failed to beat the Warriors with the Oklahoma City Thunder the previous years, and decided to join Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green to form one of the best teams in NBA history. All 4 of them made the All-Star team that year, and the Warriors became the first team to have 4 players hit 4 3-pointers in a single game. That season, the Warriors reached an NBA record 146 games without back-to-back losses and set the record for the most games with a 40-point winning margin or higher in the regular season with 3. The Warriors finished the regular season with a 67-15 record. They took the game to a higher level in the playoffs, sweeping the Portland Trail Blazers, Utah Jazz, and San Antonio Spurs on the way to the finals. For the 3rd consecutive year, the Warriors met the Cavaliers in the finals, and this time they did not take their foot off the gas. By winning the 3rd game of the NBA Finals series, the Warriors set a record of 15 consecutive playoff wins. They were only 1 game away from keeping a perfect playoff record, but lost Game 4 to the Cavs. However, they got the job done in the next game and won the championship. Kevin Durant won the NBA Finals MVP award, averaging 35.2 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 5.4 assists per game. 1. 2001 Los Angeles Lakers 15-1. At number 1, we have the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers, who were considered the best playoff team ever. After taking a year off after winning the last championship with the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson took over the head coaching job with the Lakers. The team from LA had the best center in the league, Shaquille O'Neal, and the 22-year-old Kobe Bryant, who was one of the rising stars at the time. The Lakers signed a couple of veterans, such as Ron Harper, A.C. Green, and John Sally, who had championship experience. The Lakers had a slow start of the season, but then got to an 11-16 and a 19-game winning streak that will eventually lead them to the top of the Western Conference with a 67-15 record. Shaq had an unbelievable season, averaging 29.7 points, 13.6 rebounds, and 3.0 blocks per game, winning the MVP trophy. The Lakers started the playoffs strong, sweeping the Portland Trail Blazers in the opening round, and did the same against the Sacramento Kings and the San Antonio Spurs in the Western Conference Finals. The Lakers faced the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA Finals, who were led by Allen Iverson. The Sixers surprisingly stole Game 1 in LA, which ended up being the only playoff loss that season for the Lakers.